Hey guys, I don't know how well this is gonna turn out, but I decided to make a video about what's going on with me medically because I'm hoping it'll help someone who has to go through something similar. I did a search and I don't see anybody who's vlogged about this type of procedure before. So I guess I'll be first. I'm not gonna tell like my whole background story in this video. I might edit in some parts if I have a relevant video that's short enough, or I might just link you guys in the description if you're curious more about my background and everything. There's this condition called chronotropic incompetence, which is what I had, where normally when you increase your activity, pressure valves and sensing nerves on your vasculature, like when you stand up, your leg veins will squeeze so your blood doesn't pool out. And if you're breathing more and exerting yourself, like exercising, then your heart rate picks up. Well, mine didn't anymore. So I'd go up a flight of stairs, and like I said, like my heart would beat harder, but the rate wouldn't go up. I was dating this surgeon, and thank God, really, this is when I was in school. And I was talking to him, and I was like, I'm having trouble. At first, my heart would just beat slow, like really, like my rate was very low, like before the whole conduction system totally shut down. It was like a gradual thing. And so he's like, you know what, get a second opinion. Like, I don't want you waiting until November to see the guy at Mayo. I think it was November or December, I can't remember. Because I had gone down to Mayo in 97, and that's when like they started figuring out what was wrong with me. It's like a really long story. Someday I'll tell the whole, like, the story of my health nightmare. But yeah, so I went and saw a cardiologist at my school, and yeah, they did a test, and like during that test my heart rate went down to like 32 or something. So yeah, he came in after that test and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, you're gonna need a pacemaker put in. This is my first pacemaker. They, like, once they're taken out, they'll clean them and then give them back to you, which is, like, really cool. And some people even get theirs engraved and make, it's funny, too, because the suture hole, like, I don't even know if that's showing up, but, you see that part? There's, like, a hole in there. I can't get the angle right, but, that's how they, like, anchor it inside. And so people, like, thread fishing line and make, like, a little, Christmas ornament out of it. I think that's kind of weird. We just keep mine on my altar. You know, grateful for 7 years of heart function. So yeah. So this is the pulse generator. There's like sophisticated computer in there, and the most of the bulk of it is the battery. It's a lithium long-lasting battery. Like I said, this lasts me 7 years. They can last even longer, but I'm 100% paced, so a lot more impulses than people who are just demand paced, like if their heart misses a beat or something. So yeah, and then the leads each plug in to this plastic part. Yeah, you could see the holes on there. And I remember waking up in the OR, and it was really cool because I was studying with the Department of Anesthesia by that time, and so like everybody came in to see me. It was just really encouraging, like having their support. And actually I kind of got a resident in trouble that day because he was having a really hard time like getting an IV started, and oh my god, this mosquitoes. Go away and light a coil. This always happens. I film in the evening and it's like, okay, AnaGirl to light a coil as usual. Okay, hold on. He couldn't get an IV started and my attending came in and I was like, can you please put my IV in? This guy's stuck me like 4 times and I don't want to be stuck again, whatever, so he put it in. But I'll never forget, like, when I was going to sleep in the OR, and this is the thing too, like, I can't handle Versed, like, I get combative and aggressive, so I don't get, like, the pre-op sedation. Like, most people who have surgery, you get that, and that's it. You're in, like, the waiting, like, the pre-op holding area, and then you get this nice little cocktail from your anesthesiologist, and that's the last thing you know till you wake up. Well, I don't have that luxury. Go out, Willow. So, like, I know everything, like, going in there and getting on the table and getting set up and all of that. Like, it's kind of creepy, but... Hey! Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm trying to get Willow out of the garden. Get out of there! Get out of there, Rogue Henny! Get out of the garden right now! That's mine! Get out! Oh, I'm just gonna stand right here by this coil of smoke and, like, yay, protect me! Okay, so, where was I? I'm so distracted. Oh, yeah, so my attending put in my IV line, and, of course, he got it right away. And then, there's a different guy who's, like, the different anesthesiologist who, like, hit the residence attendant. And we got in the OR, and I remember, like, they got me set up to the defibrillator and whatever, and, like, I was about to go to sleep, and I hear him go, is this your patient? You don't let another physician, like, put a line in your patient. You should have come to me. You shouldn't have let... And I felt so good. Like, I remember as I was falling asleep, I felt so bad because I had asked my preceptor to come and put it in. And I shouldn't have done that because then the attending over the resident, like, busted the resident's ass about it. And I felt so bad. I was like, he didn't go to him. I did, but then I fell asleep. That was the end of that story, but I just remember falling to sleep while he got his ass ripped. And I was like, oh no. It was like crazy OR stories. And, so yeah. But I remember waking up in PACU and I was like, oh wow, I have cardiac output. Like, it was just such a difference. I felt immediately, like, yeah, it hurt and it was uncomfortable and it was like a long, hard process for me to get used to it because people who are young are a lot more active usually and in tune with their bodies. It can be like, everybody's different, but if you're very sensitive, it's a serious adjustment, and I'm one of those people, so it was really tough. And then, but you get used to it, you know, like, you have no choice. So I'm good now. I don't, I'm aware of it if I think about it, but otherwise I'm okay. The second implant was hard because my lead broke, like fractured in the OR. And so I had, like, my heart stopped for a while. It was, like, really scary. And I remember Mr. Empath telling me, that surgery was way too long. He was like, they told us it'd be a certain amount of time. He was like, it took forever. And he kept going and asking what was going on. And, like, you know how there's, well, I don't know if you know, but usually there's, like, a waiting area when people have surgery. And there'll be, like, a receptionist or a nurse, like, relaying calls from the OR to family or whatever. And Mr. Empath went up and was like, what's going on, you know? And he said just the expression on the lady's face, like, he could tell something was wrong. And yeah, I guess when they went to unplug, like, usually when they switch out just the generator, which is the circular part that gets implanted on the skin, they can just unplug the leads and plug them into a new generator, which is like the battery part and the computer part. Leads are just like insulated wires that go down, stick in your heart to send the impulses. When they unplugged my ventricular lead, it fractured. And that's the important one. Like, it's not great, but you can live without atrial contraction. Like, people who have atrial fibrillation, it sucks, but you're not going to die. If you don't have your ventricles don't contract, that's what pushes the blood around, you know, like, around to your body. The top of the heart is just kind of like an extra fill for each ventricle, but the bottom part of heart is like where all the important stuff goes on. So yeah, that lead fractured and there was no impulse, and yeah, so my heart stopped for a while on the table. It was like really freaky. So they ended up having to replace that lead. But, and this creeps me out, they don't take the old lead out. So like, I don't know, I'm really creeped out by shit like that. So I have an extra fractured lead in there that's not used, and then they just inserted another ventricular lead. So I have like 2 good leads and 1 old one in there. It's just bizarre that they can do that. It doesn't mess things up. It's weird. Medicine and the human body are amazing. Got the first one in 1998 and the second one in 2005. And it's time to get a new one again. And I found out last week that my ventricular lead has been damaged and also needs replaced. But there's a complication because I already have had this lead replaced once. And typically, because it's dangerous to extract them, when you get new ones, they tend to want to just leave the old ones in place. So I've got one in there already. They call it an abandoned lead because it's not being used. And this would be a second, abandoning this one and putting in a third. And the problem is, you know, these leads have to go through veins. And you can clog the veins with too many leads. And because of my size, putting another one in there wouldn't be room for it. So they have to take the old ones out in a procedure called lead extraction. I had my surgical consult for this procedure this past Thursday, and my surgery is scheduled for next Friday. So some complicating problems. I have heart failure, which is why I'm on oxygen. It's a cardiomyopathy caused by a virus, and a lot of other medical issues too. Like I said, I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but it makes surgery tricky. The other issue is that the surgeon who I saw believes that my subclavian vein is already clotted because I have significant jugular venous distension. And I've had JVD a lot, just from the heart failure in general, but the left side is definitely more distended. So probably that subclavian vein is already clotted, he thinks. And there's already 3 leads in there, so he's also saying that we may need to replace the atrial lead, so that'd be 3 extractions and 2 new implants. I'm very confident in the surgeon. He is extremely knowledgeable. Like, as soon as I told him that I had mono and that the virus had stayed active, he totally knew what that is, and it's like really rare. But he totally understood. And the dysautonomia, which a lot of doctors aren't familiar with. So he really, you know, I'm very confident in his abilities. And he's the top guy in the state who does these procedures. He's been doing them over 20 years. So I have a lot of faith in him. I'm so afraid I'm gonna suffer. And recovering and everything. Like, historically, I just don't do well with surgery. And the longer they are, the harder they are in your body. And I tend to have a lot of post-op complications, and just with, you know, abysmal blood pressure to the point where I need albumin infusions and pressors and pain, like a lot of issues with pain. And So it's full general anesthesia. Surgery takes between 2 and 6 hours. My surgeon thinks mine will take about 3 if there aren't any additional problems. And what they do is they use a laser to like vaporize scar tissue in order to be able to remove the leads. Typically with implants, your body will either reject them or try and like heal around them. So if you have like pacemaker leads and they're in your vein a long time, the lead can, the vein can develop scar tissue and actually cause adhesion where the lead will be fused to the wall of the vein. So they can't just be pulled out. Like, you could get, vein damage. You could rupture your heart. Like, they can't just yank them out if they're grown in like that. And there's several places that adhesions usually occur. And the vein can be clotted off. There has to be a CT surgeon in case they need to crack your chest to get to bleeding sources and fix them. So I'm pretty terrified. I mean, it's a really big deal. I'll have to stay the night in the ICU. And then depending on how that following day goes, I may need to be kept in CCU or may be able to go home. I haven't really done much health vlogging in a long time. Seems like we all kind of go through cycles where we do talk about it and then don't talk about it. And so there's a hotel attached to this hospital, so we'll go there the night before. I don't really know what else to say. Just it'd be really nice if somebody's had this procedure. I'd love to talk to you. Surgery starts at 10 a.m. on Friday. And I'll keep you posted. Anyway, just think a good thought for us, okay? And I'll keep you guys updated. Much love and be well. Bye, guys.